52% favorable image, which is more or less in line with what it's been in. So I wouldn't say Democrats are prospering. The fact is Republicans are being penalized, but Democrats are just the only alternative.
And last year, in 2004, Congress, despite that horrible approval rating, I mean, it's extraordinary, 29%, as you point out, the lowest since 1994, when there was a Republican sweep of what had been the democratically controlled Congress. The fact is that no one in this country, as we receive word back from our viewers, thinks that either party, anyone in Congress, is doing anything to represent the middle class in this country.
That's right. They feel that way, and they felt that way for quite a long time. But look what they do. They go out and they re-elect their member of Congress because they say, Congress, they're not doing their job. They're screwing everything up. But my representative, my senator, he or she, they're okay. I like them. So they go ahead and re-elect the same Congress over and over again.
Bill Snyder, thank you. Turning now to the top story, Hurricane Wilma. This massive Category 4 storm is slowly moving toward Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula with sustained winds of 150 miles an hour now. Tonight, those winds are picking up in the Mexican resort town of Cancun, which could suffer catastrophic damage from this powerful storm. After hitting Mexico, Wilma is now expected to slam into Cuba and then head on to South Florida. We will have a great deal more on what appears to be a very dangerous storm, and we'll have much more on its erratic path after this break, when we'll be joined by CNN meteorologist Chad Myers. Also ahead here, more on the rising political challenges that now face President Bush. I'll be talking with former presidential advisor David Gergen. And then a new hope for breast cancer patients and the high price that comes along with it. And this country's biggest neighborhood watch program, the Minuteman Project. The movement to protect our borders is expanding. We'll tell you all about it next.
Lou Dobbs Tonight is brought to you by Merrill Lynch. Go beyond stocks and bonds alone to make all your money work harder together. That's Total Merrill.
My dad put 4 of us through college by investing. Even with just 2 kids, we're planning beyond stocks and bonds.
Stocks and bonds alone aren't enough anymore.
My folks kept debt to a minimum, just a 30-year mortgage. I see it differently. Managing debt is just as important as managing my assets.
And Merrill Lynch will help all your money work harder by working together. Cash, investments, mortgages, retirement. That's Total Merrill.
Who would ever think that the waste we generate could generate enough green energy to power an entire community? Who would think that neighborhood playing fields could share common ground with a working landfill? We would. We're Waste Management, and we're partnering with communities to create places we can all be proud to call home. From everyday collection to environmental protection, think green, think Waste Management.
Fred, the printer's down.
Can you help?
I can try, but I'm gonna need complete silence. So much pain, so much pain. There.
Is it fixed?
No, it's fried. But I'll get a new one from CDW tomorrow.
Nobody responds like CDW. With fast shipping on top brand technology, you get what you need when you need it. CDW, the right technology, right away.
Hey, Fred, can you take a look at my work? I'll need complete silence.
It's time people who get loans are treated fairly. That's why eLoan has no lender fees and you get the money you need fast. Check out our current monthly refinancing options. Those are just some of the revolutionary ways we're changing the lending industry. eLoan, radically simple.
The thing you try to do when you're on a story is fit in that small little camera lens all that you're seeing and all that you're feeling.
Anderson Cooper, your eyes, your ears, your connection. AC 360, next.
Hurricane Wilma tonight is bearing down on Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula and the Mexican resort island of Cozumel. Wilma tonight remains a powerful Category 4 storm. It has sustained winds of 150 miles an hour, and it could well be upgraded to a Category 5 storm, the National Hurricane Center says, as soon as tomorrow. and it could hit the Florida coast. Now, the estimate is late Sunday. They had expected landfall sometime Saturday, but the slow-moving storm now pushing that landfall date back a full day. Today, Florida Governor Jeb Bush declared a state of emergency as Florida residents are preparing for the approach of this massive storm. Mandatory evacuations of the Florida Keys begins tomorrow, and gas lines are already forming in southern Florida as residents prepare to head north. Florida officials are assuring residents that there is more than enough gasoline to go around during the evacuation. There were chaotic evacuations today in Cancun, Mexico. Tourists rushed to the airports and to get out even as rain from the storm began to fall. In Cuba, 200,000 people have been evacuated as that nation awaits the arrival of Wilma. The hurricane has already killed 14 people in Haiti. Chad Myers is tracking this storm for us tonight at the CNN Weather Center. Chad.
Lou, expecting catastrophic damage in Cozumel and also into Cancun. Winds there right at about Category 5, 150 to 155. The storm, 1,200 miles from cloud mass to cloud mass. That's how far it is across. The storm moving up toward the northwest now. It turned a little bit in the past couple of hours. The storm headed right to the island right there. That is Cozumel. We'll zoom in one more time and I'll make a line for you. I want you to see this, how the storm has moved away from the line. It followed it, and in the past 3 hours, the storm has turned to the right. That is not a wobble, not when it's that long, and that storm is going to be moving right on up to the tip top here of the Yucatan, and right up on top of there, that is Cozumel and Cancun. There's the center, there's the eye. It's 35 miles around right now. Winds 145 to about 150 from the hurricane center. There's a plane in it right now, Lou, and it just found a wind where the planes fly, a few thousand feet high, 167 miles per hour.
Wow. Yeah. Chad, thank you very much, Chad Myers. We'll be getting back to you for more as developments warrant on this hurricane, this powerful hurricane's path. We will also be joined by NASA scientist Jeff Halverson, who is studying the unusual path of this massive storm, a storm that has many unique qualities to it. Tonight, researchers are hailing a potential breakthrough in the treatment of breast cancer. A new study says the drug Herceptin can cut the risk of relapse in half for women with aggressive early-stage breast cancer. Herceptin is already being prescribed for patients with advanced cancer, but it is an extremely expensive medication. A year's supply of the drug costs $48,000. Turning to the avian flu, the death toll from the flu today rose. Thailand says a 48-year-old man who came into contact with infected birds has died of that disease. His 7-year-old son has been admitted to the hospital as well, and he also appears to be infected. This is Thailand's first bird flu death in more than a year. 61 people have now died from avian flu worldwide, and avian flu has been detected now in 16 countries. China tonight says it faces a grave threat from avian flu, and UN officials say the disease could soon spread to East Africa, where they say it would be almost impossible to control. There are serious questions tonight about just who is entering this country with visas and how well the government is keeping track of them. And we're talking about hundreds of thousands of people in this country. Despite government mismanagement and inefficiency in the visa process, Congress is moving, incredibly, to grant even more visas. Christine Romans reports.
The Senate Judiciary Committee today paved the way for 30,000 more foreign workers a year to take American jobs. At the same time, the agency charged with regulating those visas is in disarray. The Department of Homeland Security Inspector General finds that too many temporary worker visas were given out this year. Senator Charles Grassley says the Citizenship and Immigration Service has broken the law by giving out 72,000 H-1B visas this year instead of 65,000.
Can you imagine an agency that can't count 65,000 people accurately? Right now, some senators are asking for them to bring in a lot more people under the H-1B program.
The Inspector General found the Citizenship Office believes, quote, any shortfall in visa approvals would be a disservice to the American business community. The agency acknowledges it did give too many H-1B visas this year, but said it has fixed the problem. Another remarkable report from the General Accountability Office blasted the State Department for poor oversight of its 300,000 cultural exchange visas. That report found examples of these J visas being sought for work in a topless bar and as kitchen help and wait staff. That report also found companies were using exchange visitors instead of hiring American workers.
And amid all this, there's concern that Congress is more interested in finding money for the budget than in demanding these problems be fixed immediately. As part of its budget reconciliation plan today, the Senate wants to charge $750 for each 30,000 more temporary worker visas for next year. A lot of folks are saying this is essentially selling American jobs to fix a budget problem, even as the Senate recognizes that there are problems at the agency that regulates it.
So Congress is appropriating. Is that correct?
The Senate Judiciary Committee wants to put this in its budget reconciliation plan for 30,000 more H-1B visas next year.
But they're not appropriating for funds for tracking the hundreds of thousands of visa holders of various descriptions that they can't even track in this country.
At this point, they're more concerned about getting the $750 ahead to close a budget gap.
This is I don't know if there are words to express the fact that this government appears to be completely out of control. In one day, yesterday, we heard Elaine Chao, the Secretary of Labor, say that it was important in her judgment in terms of immigration reform to serve the economy, no mention of the middle class, American citizens, our higher values that have made this country great. And today we have people talking about suggesting it would be a disservice to the business community without concern for anyone else?
That report found that the prevailing view over at the Citizenship and Immigration Service was you don't want to be a disservice to the business community. If you're going to err in the number of visas you give, make sure you give too many so that you keep business happy.
And don't bother to track them. We're just kidding about being in a global war on terror, apparently. Thank you very much, Christine. Just ahead tonight, waiting for Wilma, a state of emergency has been declared in the state of Florida. We'll be talking with a NASA researcher tracking this powerful storm. Also, a break in the case of a powerful attorney's wife who was murdered, who police say is responsible for her brutal beating death. And America's middle class under assault. Why it's becoming even more difficult for children of working Americans to go to college in this country. Stay with us.
I want to play golf every day.
I want my own business.
I want what she wants.
I want my grandson to spend my money.
Get what you want with the power of the pyramid. Transamerica's experts offer tailor-made insurance, investment, and retirement solutions to help you achieve anything you want.
I want to run with the bulls.
Well, almost anything. Transamerica, the power of the pyramid.
Class of 95. Here I come.
Weekends look even better. At 50% off. Rent Friday to Monday, 50% off. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up. American Morning. Real news makes the difference. Soledad O'Brien and Miles O'Brien. American Morning. CNN tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.
Building a classic machine. Stitching the Stars and Stripes. These are just a few of the jobs held by proud American craftsmen. So join me as I ramble around this great country of ours, talking to the people who put their hearts every day into a little label called Made in America.
John Ratzenberger's Made in America, Tuesdays at 9 on the Travel Channel.
Come discover the Clark County Fall RV Show, October 20th through 23rd at the new Exhibition Center at the Clark County Fairgrounds.
They said that in life, you can either sit on the sidelines or you can get involved. But if you join the Joey Harrington Challenge, you can sit on the sidelines and be involved. Like the involved men and women from the Portland area businesses, they've accepted the Joey Harrington Challenge and will match my $200 donation to the Portland Boys and Girls Club for every touchdown I make or pass this season.
It's always a great day at the Boys and Girls Club thanks to the Joey Harrington Challenge.
When the weather is the news, trust CNN. It's essential.
When you realize how often water touches your family's life, you discover just how important healthy, great-tasting water is. Only Pure has a 3-stage filter. Stage 1 filters sediment. Stage 2 reduces contaminants. And Stage 3 filters over minerals. Pure is available in faucet mounts and pitchers. No one delivers great-tasting water quite like Pure.
The assault on this country's middle class just doesn't quit. Turning to education, 4 out of 5 college-age students in this country attend our public universities. But nearly every state has cut funding for those public schools, forcing students to pay even more money every year for their public education. Bill Tucker has the story.
The United States of America is no longer the most educated country in the world. We once were. Now it's not even close. Canada, Finland, Japan, South Korea, Norway, and Switzerland top the list. We're down at 7th, tied with Belgium, Australia, and Denmark. And as we've fallen down that list, some dramatic changes have taken place. 74% of all kids in college come from the top 1/4 income group.
We are cheating our low-income and working-class kids, and we'll have a society where the children of the very well-off become highly educated, and then the rest of us don't have those same opportunities.
During those last 5 years, 48 of 50 states have cut spending to public universities by a combined 16%. In Colorado, the state covers just 8% of its university's operating budget. The state pays for just 7% of Michigan's public colleges. It doesn't take college math to understand that what the states take away, the schools must replace. The university systems in Colorado, Kentucky, and Michigan all announced double-digit increases this year. For middle-class families that rely on the public college system to educate their kids, the tuition increases come at precisely the wrong time.
Increases in college tuition are cyclical, so that when the economy is not doing well and state appropriations for colleges and universities are down, then tuition rises rapidly.
Public colleges in need of funds are also sacrificing their independence in exchange for money.
And then they discover that in that process, they now have not 1 or 2 masters, but they have 6 or 7 different kinds of constituencies driving what they do.
Unlike the state, those private donors want something in return for their money. Buildings and sports complexes with their names on them, generating higher operating costs and increased tuition.
Now, the problem has attracted the attention of Education Secretary Margaret Spellings. This week, she launched a commission on the future of higher education. The commission has a deadline of August 1st of next year for making recommendations on making colleges more affordable and making them more accountable to policymakers.
That's great. We've got another commission. I suspect it'll be made up of those university educators. And we should be very clear here. As we report on the rising cost of those tuitions, in good times and bad, they have been rising faster than the inflation rate. And frankly, there's absolutely no excuse for that.
And we've gotten so used to it that they're
and that's a free message to the commission should Margaret Spellings wish to avail herself of it. Bill Tucker, thank you. That brings us to the subject of our poll tonight. What is your opinion of the overall quality of public education in this country, K through 12 public universities? Do you think it's excellent, good, fair, poor? Please cast your vote at BlueDobbs.com. We'll have the results coming up here later. We've told you about the Minuteman movement since it began 6 months ago. The volunteer movement, it began on the Arizona border. Tonight, that volunteer program is growing, spreading to several states, both to the north and the south, all in the name of protecting our borders, something that the federal government has refused to do. Casey Wine reports from Jacamba, California.
When he first saw this stretch of border east of San Diego, Tim Donnelly was shocked.
I mean, look at the fence. Right. It's wide open. You could hurdle over it. You could slide under it. You can drive a vehicle right up to it and throw things over.
But not now, because several groups of Minutemen and women are watching. The media frenzy that accompanied the start of their effort in April has passed, but the Minutemen remain on the job.
What's that? Necessity-ava?
Here, Minutemen discover a group of illegal aliens who've spent 4 days in the mid-90-degree desert, 2 without water. They're led to the Border Patrol. In July, Minutemen using night vision equipment tracked this group, called the Border Patrol, which captured the men. They turned out to be smuggling nearly 500 pounds of marijuana. Minutemen are now in every state bordering Mexico and several along the Canadian border. After only 6 months, the Minuteman Project has spread from just a few hundred volunteers in Arizona to more than 4,000 people in 10 border states.
I'm humbled by the participation and the volunteerism, and to see America get up out of its chairs and do something to send Washington, D.C. a message. And we followed through on our promises. You know, A lot of people thought we would go away, that we were out for 15 minutes of fame. We're not out for anything except border security.
Meanwhile, Minuteman co-founder Jim Gilchrist is now running for Congress. He's forced a well-financed and experienced politician into a runoff election next month. Though still a long shot, he claims a wider victory.
We have won the battle politically. However, I will remain cautiously skeptical about Congress's intent until they actually do something and we actually see results.
Minuteman volunteers say they'll remain on the borders until they're relieved by the National Guard. Casey Wyan, CNN, Jacumba, California.
Returning now to the very latest on Hurricane Wilma, this massive Category 4 storm is slowly moving toward Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. Sustained winds of 150 miles an hour, but wind gusts of more than 165 miles an hour have been reported tonight. Winds are picking up in the Mexican resort town of Cancun, which could suffer catastrophic damage from this storm. Wilma should turn east this weekend, the National Hurricane Center says, and head toward Florida. It could hit South Florida as soon as late Sunday. Today, Florida Governor Jeb Bush declared a state of emergency. NASA researcher Jeff Halverson joins us tonight. This has been one of the most unpredictable hurricanes on record, Jeff. It became powerful. How did it get so strong so fast?
Well, that's one of the mysteries of hurricane science. You know, we do a very excellent job of predicting the track and the likely location of landfall, but our skill has really lagged behind in trying to predict the intensity. You know, this storm dropped 100 millibars in the space of 24 hours. We see here in this animation, if we could cut away the clouds and look at the rain structure, those red towers, those are very, very deep clouds, thunderstorms that release a tremendous amount of energy. These things went off right before the storm went off the cliff, so to say.
That quick, steep decline in pressure, if it turns out the calibration of the instruments on the aircraft checking that it turned out to be accurate, this will be the sharpest plunge in pressure ever recorded in a hurricane, right?
Well, I think that there's probably one other storm out there that may take the record, but this one's going to be very, very close, and it could be that it will be at least tie or become the record breaker.
Now, this storm yesterday was about 700 miles in breadth, as we understand it. Now approaching, our Chad Myers reporting 1,200 miles across. That seems extraordinary.
It's a monster storm. The interesting thing about this system, it started off with what we call a pinhole eye, a very, very tiny eye, no more than 4 or 5 miles in diameter. And that's the size of some of the rotating vortices and thunderstorms over the Great Plains. So this is a very intense, compact hurricane that's expanded all of a sudden, but it's going back up in intensity as well. So these are just some amazing feats that the atmosphere is doing.
Amazing feats, as best you can. Give us a sense of what you expect to happen from here.
Well, it certainly looks like that the storm is going to have a longer period of interaction with the Yucatan Peninsula, which means the winds that are going to turn it away from the Yucatan, there may be some delay in that. And that could take the punch out of the storm once it makes landfall. Now, it could probably make landfall as a devastating Category 5. But like I say, the interaction with land could take it down a notch or two, but we'll have to see how it recovers once it gets back over that warm loop current in the Gulf of Mexico.
And also, is it not unusual? Because one of the things that I've noticed is that these hurricanes usually hit Cuba, which dissipated some of the energy, one would assume. But these most recent storms, including Rita, Katrina, have skirted Cuba with the eye, at least, the greatest power of the storm. Does it appear that this storm will do the same?
Well, it sort of looks like it's on track to thread the eye of the needle, kind of like the other two. But like I say, a little bit of deviation by 50 or 60 miles either way spells all the difference. That's a very narrow strait that hurricane would have to move through to stay over very warm water.
We thank you very much for being with us, Jeff Halverson.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. As Florida makes preparations for the arrival of Hurricane Wilma, a shocking look tonight inside FEMA's mismanaged response to Hurricane Katrina. One FEMA official who was in New Orleans during that storm shared his emails with a Senate committee today. Marty Beaumonde sent this then FEMA director, Mike Brown, email. He sent the email on Wednesday, August 31st. Quote, hotels, he wrote to Director Brown, hotels are kicking people out, thousands gathering in the streets with no food or water, hundreds still being rescued from homes. Estimates are many will die within hours. End quote. Several hours later, Brown's secretary sent this email saying, quote, it is very important that time is allowed for Mr. Brown to eat dinner. Given that Baton Rouge is back to normal, restaurants are getting busy. He needs much more than 20 or 30 minutes. Beaumonde responded to a co-worker saying, quote, "Tell her that I just ate an MRE and went to the bathroom in the hallway of the Superdome along with 30,000 other close friends, so I understand her concern about busy restaurants." End quote. We tried to talk with Michael Brown for his response to these emails. He hasn't replied to our request. Coming up next, President Bush under fire, attacked from seemingly all sides as his political problems worsen. Former White House advisor David Gergen is our guest, and what could be a major break in the investigation into the murder of the wife of a high-profile defense attorney. We'll have a report for you coming right up. Stay with us.
All of us have internal plumbing. But for some of us with frequent bladder urges, our pipes just don't work as well as they should. Sometimes you worry you could spring an embarrassing leak. So why deal with it on your own when there's something more you can do? Treat it once daily with Vesicare. Vesicare can reduce urges and may even help relieve bladder leakage. If you have certain types of stomach, urinary, or glaucoma problems, do not take Vesicare. While taking Vesicare, if you experience a serious allergic reaction, severe abdominal pain, or become constipated for 3 or more days, tell your doctor right away. Common side effects are dry mouth, constipation, blurred vision, and indigestion. So ask your doctor today if Vesicare is right for you. Fewer urges and leaks with Vesicare. Save $25 by calling now or visiting Vesicare.com for your free kit.
It's the time of the season when love runs high. In this time,
moving your 401ks to Fidelity is groovy. Our retirement specialists make it so easy, they'll even do most of the paperwork. You dig? Call 1-800-FIDELITY. Smart move.
Tonight, political trouble in Washington. One picture, a mugshot, evidence of deepening problems facing the Republican Party in the Bush White House as Tom DeLay turned himself into Texas Authority. News speculation tonight about who may be charged in the CIA White House leak case. And there are serious new concerns about the qualifications of Supreme Court Justice nominee Harriet Miers on the part of more than a few senators. Former White House advisor, presidential assistant David Gergen joins me now, an advisor to 5 presidents in point of fact, professor now at the Kennedy School of Government. David, good to have you here. Let's start out with the White House leak case, the CIA leak case. In your judgment, indictment's inevitable?
Not inevitable. I don't think we really know yet. A lot of the facts aren't in. You know, one of the things we do know is that when the prosecutor and the judge were conferring about this, there was an exchange of materials, and a lot of this national security stuff was redacted. So there's some mystery surrounding this, but certainly the sense in Washington is at least 1, possibly 2 or 3 indictments are coming.
And with Karl Rove, sources close to Karl Rove suggesting that he testified that he talked with Scooter Libby and another unknown source about the identity of CIA operative then Valerie Plame. What is going on at that White House that it now appears, at least appears, that one presidential assistant is putting the finger on another?
So every man for himself. When things started happening like this, the larger problem here is that the wheels are coming off the wagon, and on this administration, and they've come off awfully fast in 10 months. And so we have a series of things in which, as the troubles have mounted, people have turned on each other. The FEMA person who testified today, you just had on the show, you know, only FEMA man on the ground up there Tuesday in these unbelievable emails. The Colin Powell's Chief of Staff, last 24 hours, has ripped into Vice President Cheney and Don Rumsfeld for hijacking American foreign policy, and tore into Condi Rice as well. Now we've got these indictments, scandals. Boy, the wheels are really coming off the wagon. This is going to be very hard for this president to put them back on.
And as you describe it, the wheels off on this administration and quickly finding itself wheelless. what in the world can we expect in terms of governance? Because this administration began with the president talking about enormous political capital they had earned in winning the 2004 presidential election, taking on the issues of Social Security and privatization, private accounts, taking on a host of issues that have all just simply blown up in their faces, and a Congress facing a 29% approval rating and probably earning every percentage of that.
Well, Lou, I think you put your finger on the right problem, and that is we have a president who's got 3 more years in office, and he's disabled right now, and a president unable to govern is not healthy for the country. You know, like or dislike George Bush, you've got to get some things done while he's president. Example, as you well know, all the uncertainties in Washington around Iraq, about Harriet Miers, about everything else, is causing uncertainty in the markets. You know, as an economist said earlier today from Putnam Investments, he said, you know, wait and see. The most dangerous 3 words in the English language when it comes to the investment community. And that's the place we're in now as a country. Wait and see and how all these things resolve. And that has really negative impact on the economy and our prospects for competing with these other nations and pulling ourselves together.
Well, let's go to the positive side. You've been a presidential advisor to 5 presidents.
4, actually.
4 presidents. And I've covered a few, and I've seen the second terms begin in nearly every case where the Democrat or Republican, there is a level of arrogance that sets in on the part of the staff that is, it seems to be immutable. Is that what we're witnessing here, is just an arrogance that has simply defied judgment?
I do think that that's part of it. I think there's a hubris that comes with a second term. It's very dangerous. Every president, including Franklin Roosevelt, ran into it, made terrible mistakes. But I also feel, Lou, that some things, decisions made in the first term are now unraveling and coming back to haunt them. The decision of how they went into Iraq and without a real deliberation about how to win the peace. And the decision about cutting taxes with no consideration about keeping spending under control. Both of those decisions have really boxed the president in, and he boxed the country in.
Boxed the country in, and also we have thousands of young Americans who have been wounded in Iraq and Afghanistan, just about 2,000 who've died in Iraq.
That's right.
The president said he's got a job to do and he's going to do it. But the fact is, we're seeing, it seems to me, an erosion of the relationship between the White House and Congress. There is a diffusion of interest rather than looking at the priorities, whether it be education, whether it be immigration, whether it be border security, or prosecuting a successful war and providing security for our men and women in uniform who are fighting this global war on terror. What should the White House do here?
Well, I think you're absolutely right that we owe it to the men and women in uniform to pull together and support them during this very difficult period. I'll tell you what Ronald Reagan did in a somewhat different circumstance, but it's instructive. And that is when when the wheels came off for him in Iraq in the Iran-Contra affair halfway through his second term, and it looked like he couldn't govern for a while. You know what he did? He cleaned house. He brought in a whole new team. He brought in Howard Baker and Ken Duberstein and Colin Powell and some others to formulate and put together a new team in the White House. He got a fresh start. He essentially turned all his records over from everything that had gone wrong. He made a clean breast of things, and it was a cleansing on his part.
Well, a cleansing many critics would suggest is in order. The developments over the next week to week and a half certainly will probably be determinant as to whether or not that occurs. David Gergen, good to have you here.
Thank you, Liz. Good to talk to you again.
Coming up next, an arrest in the murder of a well-known defense attorney's wife. We'll be live with the very latest for you from California, and shocking charges of a cover-up in our nation's pre-9/11 intelligence community. Congressman Curt Weldon has some very interesting revelations and some questions that demand answers. He's our guest here next. Stay with us.
Pollen, dust, dander, and now smog and ozone too. Exclusively from Sharper Image, the Ionic Breeze Silent Air Purifier with Ozone Guard that can actually convert smog and ozone into oxygen. Cleaning and circulating your air with no fans, no filters, silently. America's most trusted brand of air purifier introduces revolutionary new technology. Sharper Image, working with the Engelhard Corporation, inventors of the modern catalytic converter, introduces Ozone Guard with Premier Catalyst, recognized by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency as a newer way to reduce air pollution. In fact, the more polluted the incoming air, the more oxygen it helps generate. The ionic breeze charges incoming air and contaminants attached to the collection grid. Then the air passes through an additional cleaning stage in the new Ozone Guard grill with Premier Catalyst coating that instantly converts a significant portion of smog and ozone into pure oxygen. Then cleaner, fresher air is accelerated back into the room. The Ionic Breeze has earned the seal of the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America because it's been proven to reduce airborne allergens. Don't be confused with our noisy competitors. Even if they look the same, they don't have Ozone Guard. Only the Ionic Breeze has Ozone Guard to help instantly convert smog and ozone into oxygen.
I've tried every air purifier on the market today, and there's only one that meets everyone's needs, and that's the Ionic Breeze.
Order today and we'll give you a $69 bathroom Ionic Breeze and a $39 car Ionic Breeze. Try the Ionic Breeze with Ozone Guard for 2 months, and if you don't love it, send it back. But keep the bathroom and the car Ionic Breezes, over a $100 value as a free gift. Call now and get a free 5-year warranty and ask about free shipping.
Call 1-800-493-4500. That's 1-800-493-4500.
Tonight, a major development in the murder of the wife of a high-profile defense attorney, the attorney Daniel Horowitz. Police have arrested a 16-year-old boy who they say beat Pamela Vitale to death. Ted Rowlands reports from Martinez, California. Ted?
Lou, according to an official who is a law enforcement official close to this case, this young man, they believed, used a piece of crown molding to bludgeon Pamela Vitale to death. They also say that he carved a crucifix in her back. He is at Juvenile Hall this evening in Martinez, California, awaiting his first court appearance. Pamela Vitale died on Saturday, found by Daniel Horowitz. This afternoon, she was laid to rest at a private ceremony here. This investigation is ongoing. Lou?
Ted, thank you very much. Ted Rowlands. Turning now to the issue of national security, my guest tonight has created a firestorm in Washington over what he says is a cover-up of vital pre-9/11 intelligence. It is the highly classified Able Danger program, and it identified Mohammed Atta and 3 other 9/11 terrorists as members of an al-Qaeda cell in Brooklyn, New York, more than a year before the attacks. Congressman Curt Weldon says the man who blew the whistle on this intelligence, Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Shaffer, is now the subject of a smear campaign by the Defense Intelligence Agency. Congressman Weldon blasted the DIA in a fiery speech on the House floor just last night.
This is an attempt to prevent the American people from knowing the facts about how we could have prevented 9/11, and people are covering it up today. And they're ruining the career of a military officer to do it. And we can't let it stand. I don't care whether you're Democrat or Republican, you can't let a lieutenant colonel's career be ruined because of some bureaucrat in the Defense Intelligence Agency. If we let that happen, then no one that wears the uniform will ever feel protected, because we will have let them down.
Congressman Weldon joins us now from Capitol Hill. Congressman, what prompted your call for an immediate investigation?
Lou, this is so outrageous it makes me sick to my stomach. As a loyal member of the Armed Services Committee supporting our military for 19 years, the intelligence agency took away Tony Shaffer's security clearance. They're now about to take away his health care benefits. He has 2 children, and his salary, because he told the truth. When they took away his security clearance, they said in September 23rd in a letter, you can never see any classified information or documents again. Over the weekend, they sent this box, Lou, labeled Defense Intelligence Agency, to his home. In the box were 5 classified documents. They sent 5 classified documents mistakenly to Tony Shaffer at his home. The Defense Intelligence Agency is on a witch hunt. They accused him of stealing pens.
All right. Congressman?
This is outrageous.
Why would the Defense Intelligence Agency want to destroy the reputation, as you point out, a decorated career member of the United States military?
Lou, when the story is told, when the Able Danger story comes out, there's going to be embarrassment all over the place. The Defense Intelligence Agency, spending hundreds of millions of dollars, could not do what a 20-member special team did in identifying, through data mining, Mohammed Atta and the Brooklyn cell 1 year before 9/11. Those DIA officials are still in the agency. They're still there working, and they don't want Tony Shaffer to tell the truth. They don't want Commander Scott Philpott to tell the truth, because they're then going to have to answer the question, why did you ignore this? Why did you not take appropriate steps? Why did this information not be passed to the FBI? Louis Freeh this past Sunday said on Meet the Press that if it had the Able Danger information, the FBI could have stopped the hijackings. That's Louis Freeh saying that this past Sunday.
And to be clear, the suggestion is that the Pentagon stopped Able Danger from sharing that information with the FBI or any other agency that might have acted. Is that correct?
Absolutely. It was September of 2000 when it was stopped.
Now, the 9/11 Commission at first denied that Able Danger existed, that they had been told anything about this. That was the first remark from Lee Hamilton. It was the first response from the staff. Subsequently, it turned out that, yes, they had heard about Able Danger on 2 occasions. How do you feel about the Commission and its reaction to Able Danger and the allegations that have been made?
Well, Lou, I supported the commission when it was established. I know some of the commissioners. I'm convinced the commissioners themselves were never briefed. But what I have found out is that Scott Philpott, an Annapolis grad, who voluntarily went in and briefed a 9/11 Commission staffer in July of 2004, told the 9/11 Commission staffer about Able Danger. That 9/11 Commission staffer made a decision not to brief the commissioners. That 9/11 Commission staffer was working for Jamie Gorelick, who was a member of the commission, who wrote the famous memo that said they could not transfer information between the military and the FBI.
The so-called wall.
Yes.
Congressman Kurt Weldon, we thank you for being here. We're going to follow this carefully, as are you. We would like you to come back with every development, and we will continue to follow this rigorously.
Thank you, Lou.
Thank you, Congressman, and thank you for your concern on the issue. Still ahead here, new violence in Iraq. More of our troops have been killed in combat. We'll have a report for you. And is the United States planning to take military action against Syria to stop its support of insurgents? General David Grange will be here to answer those questions. Stay with us.
CNN Tonight, all new at 10. A mother accused of drowning her children. What drives some moms to kill their kids? CNN Tonight, 10 Eastern.
Fox News Channel. Our approach is so simple. Nothing but keep it fair and balanced.
On the Fox News Channel, you hear everybody. It's a perfect example of how a democracy works.
It's my job in life to sanitize him.
Smart TV, and it's about issues that affect all of us.
Fox News Channel, the network America trusts for fair and balanced news. Bill O'Reilly, Lars Larson, Tony Snow, and Michael Savage. Only one radio station has Portland's best talk. It's News Radio 750 KXL.
Shopping for a new home? Did you know that in the time it takes you to drive to just one house, you could visit 100 without leaving your home? Coldwell Banker Barbara Sue Seal Properties introduces a better way to shop. Find your new home on TV or online, anytime. Hundreds and hundreds of dream homes are now just a click away. On Channel 15 or at cbseal.com. Coldwell Banker Barbara Sue Seal Properties. Discover the joy of home shopping from home.
Weekdays on CNBC, Ron Insomnia gets into the heart of the day's market action. Hardcore business from all the angles. What you could learn from how the pros make money. An insight that's uniquely wrong. Street Signs, weekdays on CNBC. Make it your business.
Street Signs, weekdays at 11 a.m. on CNBC, is brought to you locally by
Pacific Continental. The Right Back.
It's time to cash in on a winning pair from Comcast. Call 1-866-SO-FAST-1 to get America's #1 high-speed internet for just $19.99 per month. And Comcast Digital Voice with unlimited local and long-distance calling for only $24.99 a month. That's less than $45 a month for the pair. Plus, order both services during this 2-week sale and get free professional installation. Win big with Comcast. Call 1-866-SO-FAST-1 by October 31st and save over $300.
Weather is the news. Trust CNN. It's essential.
4 of our troops have been killed in the latest combat in Iraq. 3 soldiers were killed when their patrol was hit by a roadside bomb near Balad, and a U.S. Marine was killed by a suicide bomber in the town of Karabila. 1,986 of our troops have now been killed in Iraq since the beginning of this war 2.5 years ago. The United States says one reason the insurgency continues to escalate is because Syria and Iran are supporting the insurgents. In testimony before Congress yesterday, Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice refused to rule out the use of force by the United States against Syria and Iran. General David Greens joins me now. General, the idea that the United States would use force against Syria or Iran, is it one that you think makes strategic and tactical sense?
Only if necessary, Lou, but the option must be there. And it may be that some type of limited use of force is necessary, in particular with Syria.
And the idea that the United States cannot move Syria to shut down its borders, which obviously insurgents and support for those insurgents are crossing seemingly at will. Is that the basis? Is that sufficient provocation for, in your judgment, military action against Syria?
Well, I think that one of the conditions for success is, in fact, to control the border better than it's happening now. And I think that in this area, Syria itself has problems controlling the border. But something must be done by Syria more so than to date in order to meet their obligations. They had agreed to control the border, and they have not done so. So something must be done about it.
General, also the issue of Iran, the support for insurgency within Iraq. Is there, in point of fact, militarily, much that the United States could do about it, given the tremendous responsibilities of our armed forces around the world, but most specifically within Iraq itself?
Well, a land option would be very difficult right now, but the United States always has an air and water option. But it would be tough. The forces are stretched to the limit, as you well know. And but it doesn't mean that the United States could not take military action. They, in fact, could, but it would be limited as well.
General David Grange, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
Still ahead, the results of our poll tonight. We'll have a preview of what's ahead tomorrow. Stay with us.
Every day, buildings everywhere are getting stronger, quieter, more attractive, and more energy efficient. What does it take to put everything in place? The right chemistry. Improving the things we all need is a goal to build on, and it's ours. Dow. Living improved daily.
What if everyone just settled for average? What if nobody raised the bar? What if everyone decided to let someone else figure it out? By investing in Russia's oil and natural gas reserves, the world's second largest, ConocoPhillips is helping ensure global energy production for decades to come. Turning what ifs into what's next is just another way we elevate.
Ms. Morrison, hi, I'm Clueless Frontman. Welcome.
So do your brokerage accounts have maintenance fees?
Maintenance fees, no.
Unless account balance falls below $200,000. What about inactivity fees?
Nope.
Minimum 30 trades per month, additional fees apply. Who is that?
Oh, that's Asterisk. Don't mind him.
Get serious. Get Brownco, where experienced investors don't pay maintenance fees or hidden charges. Brownco, a brokerage service of J.P. Morgan Asset Management.
Last year, Norfolk Southern and its shipping partners took hundreds of thousands of freight loads off the highway. In fact, they've invested millions to convert even more traffic in the coming years. So it's easy to see how the economy won't be the only thing that benefits. Norfolk Southern, the future of transportation.
Closed captioning hours on CNN, sponsored in part by Jennifer Convertibles.
It's Jennifer's three-piece all-leather living room package, just $9.99. An all-leather sofa, love seat, and chair with great style and seating comfort, only from Jennifer.
The results of our poll tonight, only 1% of our audience says the quality of public education in this country is excellent. 15% say it's good. The rest of the numbers speak for themselves. Thanks for being with us tonight. Please join us here tomorrow. We'll have the very latest for you on Hurricane Wilma and just how officials along the Florida coast are preparing and how residents of Florida are getting ready. For all of us here, good night from New York. Anderson Cooper 360 starts right now. Anderson.
Good evening, everyone. We are live again on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, still tracking the rebuilding of this town and tracking Wilma, Florida in the crosshairs tonight. 360 starts now.
Bearing down on Florida, a dangerous Category 4 storm, just like Hurricane Charlie was. This is what Charlie did, waiting for Wilma, a state of emergency. He was FEMA's point man in New Orleans when Katrina hit, the only FEMA employee in the entire city. When he called for help, he says no one listened.
I don't know where that information went.
A major break in the murder that caused a mistrial. A prominent lawyer's wife brutally beaten. Now, an arrest. A man frozen in time, encased in ice. His Army parachute unopened. Who is he? When did he die? Thawing out, a 360 mystery. Live from the CNN Broadcast Center in New York, this is Anderson Cooper 360.
And good evening again. I'm back in the French Quarter tonight.